Another thing to know about is patterns. So everybody asks, where do you find a pattern? So patterns are online. You can Google them. You can join this awesome group under no money from them to me called Ravelry, where it is free. And you can search thousands upon thousands upon thousands of patterns that are free. Some of them you have to pay for. You can look on Etsy, you can search by craft, you can just Google and see what comes up. Pinterest is also a great place. I have a whole entire board that I can share with you of actually they're kind of advanced patterns, but for the most part there's different ideas. And what I really use that for is to think about the colors. So sometimes when you're knitting or crocheting you can change colors. You don't have to do one thing all one color. So it's really cool to see the different selections that people have made. Another thing to know about is the gauge. Now, I have to tell you, I do not like the gauge. Gauge is really used with shaping. So if you're going to wear it or you're going to give it to somebody to wear, you'll have to worry about this. But when we're starting, we're going to do something flat, like either a blanket or a scarf, and with that, you really don't have to worry about gauge. So what gauge means, and I showed you the instrument earlier, is that it's really stitches per inch. So you'll have to do a swatch, which is you take some of the yarn that you're going to use, the hook or needle that you're going to use, and do maybe the first 2 or 3 rows. Sometimes it recommends that you do a 4x4 swatch. And you literally have to count your stitches to see if they fit in. So I drew a picture here of 3 stitches per inch. So if your gauge is off, so if you have more stitches per inch, or you have less stitches per inch, it could really throw off the size. So when I first started, I didn't really pay attention to this, and it was to my detriment because I was trying to make myself a really cute pair of slippers, and well, they fit Bigfoot, not me. The other thing you have to worry about, or not really worry about, but you'll hear as you start to join the community and go through Google sites and look on Ravelry and do all those kinds of things, is the terminology. So I called out a few different things just to let you know. So stash, that is your yarn. It's what you have on hand. If you've ever been in my back room of my basement, you will see my stash. And that sounds like I have drugs, but no, I don't. Really what it means is I have baskets upon baskets upon bins of yarn. I have a bit of a problem, so I'll go into a store and buy a lot. So that's your stash. The next thing to know is a skein. A skein is actually the yarn, that's what you buy. You buy skeins of yarn. First mistake, they are not all the same. So sometimes your skein may have 375 yards. Sometimes your skein might have 600 and some yards. That's important to note on the back of the yarn so you know exactly how much you need in order to do the pattern. Frog. So frog literally means, and I could not have come up with a better word myself. A frog means to rip it out. So rip it, rip it, rip it, the noise a frog makes. So that's what that means. So if you're doing something and suddenly make a mistake and it's very noticeable, you might have to rip it out, and that's what a frog is. A whip, a W-I-P, is a work in progress. So it's what you currently have on your needles. If you've been to my house, you know that I have lots of work in progress or whips all around. I hide them when company comes over, but for the most part, they are there. What I'll show you next is the first crochet project that we're going to do. So I know that there are some of you that are itching to knit, and don't worry, I will have videos for you as well, but I want to get those that are dying to learn how to crochet started. So to do that, I picked a really easy project. I'll show it to you in a few minutes, but it will just go through a very simple, easy pattern that shouldn't cost you a lot of money to start. You only have to buy the yarn and the crochet hook that you need, and we'll see what happens. So I'll have to let you know that this is probably going to be an awkward journey. I'm new to this, but hang in there, it'll be fun. Thanks.